Hello everybody, we are back here to do the third live reading of the documents that were filed on October 23rd. This one is quite a bit shorter than the last one that we did read. Hello everyone. Hey ML, hey Just Jay. Please don't tell me you ran from your office again. Or was that you? Or was that Eric, 93? Hey, everyone. Oh, my God. Literally, Instagram just said, hang on. We're telling more followers to join your video. 4 lives in 1 week, Jen O'Neill. Yeah, and there's actually probably going to end up being more. Hey, Depop. Because there were 3 documents filed on October 23rd. So we're still doing the October 23rd ones. Hey, Chemo, and hey, Free Britney SD, hey, Kevin. Anyway, so we're just going to go over this one really quickly. The last live I did actually ended up taking 2 videos, and I got a complaint. My first, complaint, someone said I was all over the place, and so I kind of dragged that person from one side of the internet to the other, but I do want to just, these videos all end up going onto IGTV, so I do want to just make a general disclaimer. I used to read these documents first and print them out and highlight them and write on them and do all this stuff before I went over, and I was kind of doing like lessons, but with the nature of the case, Britney Spears' case, I mean, y'all, this is a lot of work, so it would take me a few hours to do that if I did it for every single document, and I guess I do have time to do it, but I kind of think it's cool to read these live with y'all, and sometimes, I make these foreshadowing judgments, and I'm like, oh, I know what they're about to do, and guess what? Like, I'm wrong sometimes. The reason that I do this isn't to confuse people, and I genuinely do apologize if you're confused, but the reason that I do this is I go through these lives as a stream of consciousness with y'all and like with you guys for 2 reasons. One, it's fun because it just kind of like feels like, haha, let's read it. And number 2, it kind of gives you guys an idea of like how you should actually be reading legal documents, which is to make foreshadowing or predictions about stuff that is going to come up. Sometimes those predictions are wrong. The point of making predictions is not to be right. The point of making predictions is to maintain the level of engagement, right? Your brain being engaged with the reading. When you're reading legal documents, y'all, these things are 28, 38 pages long sometimes. It gets boring. So you have to come up with ways to stay engaged. And the easiest and most obvious way to stay engaged is obviously foreshadowing. So sometimes my little predictions are wrong, and some girl told me it makes it hard to follow and it's confusing, and I'm all over the place, and she knows lawyers who are not all over the place. Yeah, baby, that's because lawyers usually make between $200 and $1,200 an hour to be ready to present to you whatever they're going to present to you beforehand. And I'm doing this on the fly. So that was a really long disclaimer, but I just want to let y'all know that this is actually pretty hard work. And for me to be doing this live and on the spot is actually like not very easy. I understand that it may seem like I'm scatterbrained, and I do have learning disabilities. Sometimes I'm scatterbrained, but this is the best I can do unless people want to start paying me tuition. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Munchkin. Thank you, Stephen. All right, so now we can just get started. I know, I totally feel like that commenter missed the point. Like, she wanted like somebody said, what does this bitch want, a lesson plan? Like, does she want... Yeah, exactly. She did, Jen. She did miss the point of my videos, which are to teach people. I had no reaction to what you were reading. They complained. Yeah, exactly. If I had like, what do y'all want me to do? Just sit here and read it out loud? Like, you can do that yourself. Exactly. So anyway, I'm doing my best. So she acts like she pays you. Exactly. If she wants to start paying me, that's what I said, and I talked to my partner about it, and you know what he said? He said, well, you should make an OnlyFans, and if she wants to, if people want to act stupid, then put all your videos behind a pay block, and then you can start, charging money for it. And I said, that kind of just goes against the reason I started doing these in the first place, which was to make this information available and free to everybody. So that is what I still plan to do, but I know it was annoying, but okay. So for the people who are still here, despite my being all over the place, let's get into the last document that was filed on October 23rd. And this is related to the last document we read, which took 2 entire lives to get through. It was probably the longest document. It definitely was. It took me the longest to get through out of any other documents in this case so far, because it was kind of legally technical. So here we have another one, and it is the official title, as you see here, is Conservator. That's James Spears' request for judicial notice in support of brief, in support of, and then the brief is the one that we read, brief regarding applicability of hearsay rule to the Conservatee's out-of-court statement. So basically what this tells me is he is asking the judge to basically read their argument that we just read in the last 2 videos and to say, yeah, I, Judge Penny, agree with Geraldine and Gerald. And from a legal perspective, I actually think Geraldine and Gerald are correct, and I think that Sam Ingham is wrong. Now, in our case, it would be nice if every time Sam Ingham said something, he was right. But unfortunately, lawyers are also wrong sometimes. So I hope I'm wrong. Listen, actually, I don't hope I'm wrong. Because if Sam Ingham's argument that he was making in the last brief is correct, that would actually mean that Britney Spears does not have her First Amendment right to free speech. And I don't hope that's right. I hope that Sam Ingham is wrong on this one, and we might just have to take a small loss, because I really want Britney Spears' First Amendment freedom of speech rights to remain intact. And if that is the case, it's going to have to mean that this argument they made in the last 2 videos is right. So we would have to side with Jamie and his lawyers in order to maintain Britney Spears' First Amendment rights to free speech. So we're in a kind of sticky situation, but this happens in the law, where you have to agree with people you hate sometimes in order to have the outcome that is fair and equitable, right? All right. So to all parties, please take notice. So what is judicial notice? Let's go over that real quick. Judicial notice is whenever you have the judge kind of just agree to something without really having to argue. Usually judicial notice would go to something like, hey, judge, can we all agree that it, was raining on July 4th, 2020 in Philadelphia? We can go check the weather report or whatever, but everybody in the whole case has said it was raining. Can we all just agree that it was raining? The judge sometimes will be like, yeah. Sometimes it's even more clear than that. So can we all agree that August comes before September? Can we all agree? Yeah, okay. The judge will take judicial notice and say, yeah, nobody has to prove August comes before September. We all know. So basically, they're trying to get the judge to say, yeah, nobody has to prove anything. We all know that Britney has a First Amendment right to free speech. That's basically what they're trying to get the judge to agree to. Oh my gosh, is someone speaking Dutch? Vad hende? Vim har. Oh, I wish I could speak Dutch. Is that Dutch or Norwegian? Anyway. Please take notice. So this is a conservative. This is Jamie's request for the judge to do that. Okay. And so he's saying to everyone, please notice Jamie requests that the court agree with, him. Of the following document. Okay, judicial notice. Respectfully requests that the court take judicial notice of the following document of November 10th hearing, at the November 10th hearing on conservators. Petition to appoint conservator of the estate. Okay, let me see what this is about. Order extending. Okay, all right. So this actually has very little to do with that last document now that we're looking at it, even though it has, in support. Okay, here I go all over the place. Okay. Will the new lawyers show up on the 10th? I really don't know. That's a great question, Depop. I'll ask Lisa later. So essentially what they're doing is including this document from 2008. See this? We'll go through it. February 6, 2008. They're including this document and they're asking the judge to say they can use this document in the November 10th hearing. That's all they're asking. It's a document that's already come up before the court and we're going to read it now. But essentially they're saying, hey, to support our argument about that brief, about the hearsay rule and all that complicated stuff, we're going to need something to support our argument. The thing we want to use to support our argument is this document right here, which is called Order Extending Temporary Letters of Conservatorship. And they're going to want to use that document. And before they get to court, they just want the judge to say, yeah, you can use that document. I think that's what this means. Okay. She confused all over the place with just showing us the way your brain works. Yes, that's exactly right. And that's why I took it so personally. Because like as a kid and stuff, I was told, you're scatterbrained, you can't focus, you can't pay attention. It's really just that I have like 16 compartments of my brain going at one time, and that helps me to make connections that other people miss. But sometimes it comes across as scattered-brained if I don't present it in a format that is acceptable for neurotypical people. And live, and they're confusing. And just some girl, I don't know, I blocked her. She probably over here on her Finsta talking about, I love your videos, but you're all over the place. Okay, well, you can be in blocked land. Bye. All right, so this is the document that they want. See, other people's brains are like that too. ML Hatton and the wilted one. And that's probably why we are the ones sitting on this live in the middle of the day analyzing court documents. Anyway. Okay, so this document is the one that they want the court to, just let them use, which I don't see any reason why they can't use this document. It is a document that has already been used in this case, and I think it is one we've already gone over, but we can just go over it real quick again. Now, remember, if anyone comes in here and they're like, what are we doing? All of this we're about to read is from 2008. It is from like 2 days after the conservatorship was filed. This is all from 2008, what we are about to Josh, I'm autistic as well, Joshua. So I'm autistic and ADHD. So even I managed to make it through law school. So anyone can do anything. All right. Order extending temporary letters of conservatorship of the estate. This was filed in February 2008. The further hearing on the petition for appointment of temporary conservator of the estate of Britney Spears, Papa James, came regularly on hearing. Sorry, I'm just getting through this. Okay. This is just laying out the procedural history of where they are. So there was going to be a further hearing on February 4th. This particular document wasn't filed till the 6th, which I find confusing. But allegedly, this is all from the 4th in Department 9 of the, Los Angeles Superior Court. Then they named the lawyers, Gerald, Vivian Thurine, Wexler, of this certain law firm. They appeared on behalf of Jamie. Temporary, and y'all remember at that time he was the temporary conservator of the person, and he was the co-conservator of the estate along with Andrew Wallet. So that was the universe as it was in 2008. Sam Ingham, that's Britney's court-appointed counsel, appeared as the court-appointed PVP counsel on behalf of Britney. Andrew Wallet appeared on behalf of himself as co-conservator of the estate of Britney. And then we had this guy, Adam Streisand, from where Loeb and Loeb appeared purportedly, which means like allegedly, on behalf of Britney, from proof made to the satisfaction of the court. Okay, so this is from February 4th, whereas they do mention that Adam Streisand did show up that day and tried to show up on behalf of Britney, and the judge is saying, Jamie is saying, oh yeah, this guy like shows up, whatever. But they already say Sam Ingham appeared as the court-appointed counsel. Andrew Wallet was there. So that's just called the procedural history. They were just kind of setting up where they were in the case at that time. So just to kind of condense it, this was in 2008, and this particular document is an order, a court order, which takes the temporary letters of conservatorship and extends them. This is exactly the same thing that is going on right now with the conservatorship of the person. Y'all know that Jody Montgomery is only considered to be a temporary conservator of Britney's person, and that is supposed to last through February 2021. But if you remember, it was like July or something, that temporary conservatorship was gonna end. So the judge had to order an extension to the temporary conservatorship. And that is exactly what this document from 2008 is, except this one is for the estate. I know this is confusing. We really are getting into the weeds on this case, but I just want to make this information available to you guys. And I know there's like lots of people from different like age groups and different education backgrounds and everything. So I want to make sure everybody gets it. So this particular document, just to condense it, where we are in time, was from February 4th, 2008. The reason we're reading this document is because Gerald and Geraldine want to use it to support their argument about the hearsay evidence crap that they were talking about in that last document we read, okay? So now we're going back to this document, 2008. In 2008, where we were on the day this was filed was we had this hearing and all these people were there. All right. These were the findings of the court on that day, February 4th, 2008. Notice of time and place of hearing has been given as required, okay? On February 1st, so this is going back in time 3 days at the time, the court appointed Mr. Spears and Mr. Wallet as temporary co-conservators. And letters of temporary conservatorship of the estate were issued to Jamie and Andrew that day on February 1st. Number 3. Also on February 1st, the court appointed PvP counsel. Oh, someone take a screenshot of this and send it to me. I need to send this to Lisa. She and I are working on a brief that kind of outlines how this all happened, and we were wondering what date exactly Sam was appointed, and it says here it was on February 1st. So someone either send me February 1st, Sam appointed, or something like that, please. I love that y'all do that. It helps me a lot. Okay. So yeah, so on February 1st, 2 things happened at least. The court appointed Jamie and Wallet as temporary co-conservators of the estate, and the court gave them these temporary conservatorship letters. And also on February 1st, the court appointed Sam Ingham as the court-appointed attorney. Okay. Number 4, the court found it was in the best interest of Britney that the temporary conservatorship be continued over her estate. Okay, so the court determined to continue the temporary conservatorship, just like she did recently with Jody from July to February, right? Thank y'all. Okay, someone sent it. Wait, MJ, get a life. Who's here? Is someone causing? I'm about to start having people. Let's see, what is... Yeah, by brand. This is a 2008 court document, and the reason we're looking at it is because it is from the... Let's see, can you pin a comment that says this doc is from 2008? Yeah, somebody told me how to pin a comment. Leanne, that's a good idea. I don't know how to pin a comment. Let's see. Can I pin your comment? Yes. Boom. Okay. Did that work? I pinned Leanne's comment saying this doc is from 2008. Okay. It's confusing. I know this is really confusing. Oh, okay. You said I was clear and we could understand. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Y'all, I like everyone for the most part. Just like I just like can't handle fighting. So just like be nice to each other. That would be cool. Okay. All right. Number 5, Mr. Wallet is a suitable and qualified person and is authorized to continue as the Oh, look at this. How funny. So, we have people actually like writing in on this document, right? I don't know how that happened, but I always take note of that whenever I'm reading a legal document. Number 5, this is the court had found Andrew Wallet was a suitable and qualified person and authorized to continue as the co-conservator of Britney's estate. Someone went in and wrote the word temporary handwritten. Just more messy, sloppy, legal writing on behalf of Jamie's lawyers. And this clearly has been going on since 2008, since they couldn't even type the word temporary. Depop this. They use a pen for temporary because they either forgot to type it in or they intentionally were trying to leave it out so that they would give themselves more rights. The more likely scenario is that the reason they had to write it in with pen is because they forgot to type it in, and then the court actually had someone write this in on the day of court, because technically he was a temporary co-conservator. Andrew Wallet was. Very sloppy, so unprofessional. Yeah, anyway. So Jamie, so the court found on this day, the court found February 4th, 2008, that Andrew Wallet was a suitable and qualified person authorized to continue as temporary co-conservator, and the court also found that Jamie Spears was suitable and qualified and authorized to continue as temporary co-conservator, and that's both of the estate. Okay. The court also found that it was necessary and appropriate that the letters of temporary conservatorship of the estate issued to Jamie and Andrew on February 1st be extended to February 14th for further hearing. So the judge is saying, all right, so she's under a conservatorship until February 14th, which was going to be like Valentine's Day, if that helps y'all remember. And then we're going to decide what to do about the estate. But at least until February 14th, which was like, a couple weeks after, 10 days. This was 10 days after this document was filed. In 10 days, we're going to have another hearing, is basically what the judge said. Until then, you're going to be in a conservatorship temporarily, Miss Britney Spears. All right, now let's get to number 8. As a result, and this is a big one. Number 8 says, as a result of the pleadings that have been filed, pleadings just means court documents. Why isn't this selecting? By J. Edward Sparr, who is a doctor, and the report of Sam Ingham, the court finds that Britney, or Miss Spears, that's Britney, does not have the capacity to retain counsel, and she lacked the capacity to retain Adam Streisand. If y'all remember, she tried to hire a lawyer from Loeb and Loeb to represent that her constitutional rights had been violated, and that, basically Adam Streisand was trying to argue, number one, first and foremost, he was trying to argue not to let Jamie Spears be the conservator. So Britney has been fighting Jamie Spears being conservator of her estate since the beginning. So the court found, again, they found first on February 1st, and they found again February 4th, 2008, that Britney lacked the capacity to retain any counsel at all, and especially Adam Streisand. Now, if I can just for a minute pontificate on what I actually think, I think that was unconstitutional. And a lot of y'all have heard me talk about the fact that I do think that it was unconstitutional, because I don't think you have to have capacity to hire a counsel. I think you just have to have ability, meaning you can go and hire them. Yeah, if that's a nuanced difference, don't worry about it. But I'm just saying I think this was an unconstitutional finding right here. And that is something that me and Lisa McCarley are trying to look into. About, who has the capacity to hire an attorney and what is the constitutional threshold. Okay, number 9, Britney has a right to be present at this hearing, that one that was going to come up in 10 days from the date that this was filed. And she is not present. According to Dr. Sparr's declaration, Britney doesn't have the ability to attend the hearing. I don't know why he would have said that. Mr. Ingham, that's Sam, Britney's lawyer, indicated in his report that Britney was given an opportunity through him to communicate to the court, and she has elected not to. So if y'all remember, why are we reading this document in the first place, right? If you remember, we're reading this document because Gerald and Geraldine, Jamie's lawyers, are going to use it to support, where are we at here? To support their argument about the hearsay rule. And I do think they're right about the hearsay evidence rule. Okay, so why are we here? We're here because I think, and this is foreshadowing, and I could be wrong. I've been wrong about things before, all over the place, me. I think they're going to say, look, Sam Ingham had Britney Spears had the opportunity to communicate with the court before, and she decided she didn't want to. So what's their whole argument about this hearsay crap, right? Y'all remember, it's that Sam Ingham is talking on behalf of Britney, and Jamie and James and them, Jamie and Geraldine and all them are saying, no, Sam Ingham doesn't, we need to hear from Britney. And Sam Ingham is saying he's the only way. Sam Ingham's saying he's the only way Britney can talk to the court. This is all right now in 2020. However, we have in this document from 2008 that Britney was given an opportunity through Sam Ingham to communicate. Sorry, someone called me. How rude. I think Sam was careless on purpose. Distract them from what he is going to bring to the November 10th. Britney may have needed a temporary conservatorship in the beginning, to be fair, but no more than a year. He isn't a psychologist. He is a geriatric doctor, and he has 1 star. Dr. Benson passed away. Allegedly, Britney refused to speak to Sam Ingham then. Oh, okay, Kevin. So Kevin is saying Britney was refusing to speak to Sam Ingham then. And that would make sense because she tried to hire a lawyer. If I could find that. Oh, man. Hold on. I'm going to put something down real quick. I'm going to put this down because I don't want all the Finstas to see my... Actually, I'm going to write a note. Hold on one second. I'm going to write a note to show y'all something. Free Britney LA, you reminded me of something. And I want to show y'all after we get done with this document if we have time. And it is going to be where she had tried to fire Sam Ingham in 2008. And we have Jamie Spears on record saying that. But we're already confusing with the 2008 document. So I'm going to wait till I'm done with this set of things just to make sure we're all clear. But I'm writing a note for myself right now. Okay, back to it. On the basis of Dr. Sparr's declaration and Sam Ingham's report, the court should waive Miss Spears' presence at the hearing. Okay, so the court said Britney doesn't have to be at the hearing. And that's a big deal in California because, like you see, Britney has a right to be at this hearing. She's not here. But according to this doctor who she didn't pick and this lawyer who she didn't pick and is, according to, Kevin, she wasn't even speaking to his ass at the time. She was given an opportunity, but she didn't want to talk to Sam. So they had the hearing anyway. So on the basis of that, the court found, oh, well, okay, I guess Britney doesn't have to be here. She has a right to be here, but who cares about rights? Sam Ingham met with Britney on February 3rd, which is the day before this. Bond was fixed at $100,000 to be furnished by an office. See, I don't really understand bonds. If anybody wants to do a double live where you explain bonds, that would be great. I think we should try to get John Erdley. He tried to represent her and figured out their whole scheme. He is retired now, but it would be interesting to hear from him. Yeah, maybe he'll do a live with me. That would be fun. The court orders. Okay, so there's findings and orders. So this was the findings that the court had, and now here's what the court's about to order. The court orders as follows. Again, this is a document from 2008. Don't get too outraged. I mean, you can, but this is not recent. This is from the very beginning of the conservatorship. Britney does not have the capacity to retain counsel. And again, I think this is a violation of her constitutional rights, state and federal. Britney lacked the capacity to retain Adam Streisand. I also think that's unconstitutional. I think that's incorrect. It is ordered that Britney's attendance at the hearing is waived. So that's 3 rights right there. She doesn't have the right to retain counsel. She doesn't have the right to hire specific counsel. She doesn't have the right to attend this hearing, is pretty much how I'm reading this. Letters of temporary conservatorship are extended for 10 days. Not a big deal, whatever. The temporary conservators of the estate are granted the following powers, in addition to those provided by law. So in 2008, this is additional powers that Jamie and Andrew Wallet were both granted respectively. The temporary conservators, that's Andrew Wallet and Jamie Spears, shall have the power to obtain all documents and records relating to Britney and her assets, whether held in her name or the name of another, including but not limited to records currently in the possession and control of the Conservatee's business manager, and at the time that was Howard Grossman. So they were usurping Howard Grossman and getting ready to install Lou Taylor, in my opinion. They also were allowed to get letters and documents from her attorneys. The court ordered this, right? So anything that she had said confidentially to her attorneys looks like it could have been turned over now. All others, contracts, information relating to credit cards, bank statements, estate planning, receivables, any powers of attorney. So they basically just had the court allow them to have everything of Britney's. Imagine going to a lawyer. Imagine going to an attorney. Imagine making a contract. Imagine having a business relationship with a business manager who you actually chose, and now your dad and some random dude you've never met have full, complete, total court granted access to it. Like, just imagine. What else did the court order? Because it doesn't end there. Andrew and Jamie have the power to take all actions necessary to secure Britney's assets. What does that mean? Including entering and taking control of her residence, right? Entering her house and taking control of it. Removing people from her house and taking any and all actions necessary, which I don't know what in the hell that means, right? They've been trying to silence anyone to fight the sea ship, and now it's Ingham's turn. Yeah, true. Okay. Including changing the locks on Britney's house, calling the police, which we all know, like if you know anything about disability rights, disability access, calling the police on someone who is in the middle. Listen, I'm not saying Britney Spears is disabled. I'm not saying she does have a mental condition or anything like that. I'm saying they have alleged that she does. So if that is true, which I'm not saying it is, but if it were true, then they should know that calling the cops on someone who is disabled is almost always, where's Britney the Sagittarius? Because Ryan, she will know even better. But like, there are statistics that show calling law enforcement on mentally, like people with mental disabilities and people who are in like a meltdown, like I'm autistic, like in an autism meltdown or whatever, like that actually puts disabled people in more risk to call the cops. And now we have the court just like, whatever, state-sanctioned violence on disabled people. Yeah, sure, you can call them and employ security guards at the expense of Britney's estate. Like, it's just so messed up, y'all. So Andrew Wallet, some dude Britney never met, and Jamie Spears, the dude that Britney literally tried to hire an expert lawyer to get Jamie Spears not to have these rights, but Britney was declared not to be able to have that constitutional right. So we have Jamie and Andrew sitting over here with these powers. They can enter and take possession and control of her home. They can remove people from her home. They can take any action necessary to secure the residence. That includes changing her locks, calling the cops, employing security guards. And guess what? Adding insult to injury, she got to pay for it. No choice, no voice. Daddy steps in, daddy knows best. That's what happened. Reading these documents from 2008 really just grind my gears, and it's like makes me just really like, it actually gets my blood pressure up, like reading this, like knowing that this happened to a 26-year-old person, like an adult woman who had freaking children. Like, ooh, let me just take a breath. Let's get to letter C. Whew. Another power that Andrew Wallet and Jamie were granted: to take all actions necessary to secure the Conservatee's liquid assets, including the power to cancel all credit cards. So they can cancel her credit card. So if she thought she was about to swipe her credit card to buy herself a smoothie, or to buy herself a box of tampons, or, a ice cream cone or a avocado toast, no, baby, you're not going to do that. Guess why? Because daddy and some dude you never met have the power given to them under the law in the state of California to cancel your credit card. So you're not about to swipe for nothing. Okay? What other powers do they have? They have the power to revoke all powers of attorney, including powers of attorney for making healthcare decisions and managing real estate, and to terminate any and all agencies. They have the power, and this is as of 2008, Andrew Wallet is no longer the co-conservator of the estate. So he is not a temporary conservator, right? But in 2008, he had this power. The court granted it to him. And Jamie: commence and maintain litigation, that means going to trial, and participate in any litigation with respect to Britney, where she's a party in interest. And this is how they've gotten away with suing fans so much, like Brian, and getting those restraining orders against Sam Lutfi and other people This particular provision is what gave them the power to do that, the power to retain counsel and experts. So it's really funny. Britney has no capacity to hire her own lawyer and retain counsel, but some dude that Britney's never met and her father, who is a known alcoholic and a known abuser, has the power to retain counsel for Britney. Like, it just really just rubs me the wrong way. And to me, like hate to be like bleeding heart liberal or whatever, but it really feels like sexist. Like, I just cannot imagine some grown adult pop star's mom being given these powers. Like, you think Kanye West's mom, if, rest in peace, if she were alive, would be given these powers? I just can't, maybe, but I just can't imagine a universe where that would have happened. So the court took away, so just so we're clear, the court took away Britney's constitutional right to hire an attorney and assigned that right to her dad, despite Britney saying she did not want her dad to be a conservator and she did not want to give up her right to hire her own lawyer. Okay. And also, again, Britney is going to be paying, and pay same from conservatorship estate. So Jamie isn't footing the bill for this. Oh, yes, Britney. I did, Britney the Sagittarius, I did ask for you. Let me go back. Temporary. I wanted to ask if you knew any, and maybe we could just do a Q&A after, but there was something in here about, oh, here it is. This is a document from 2008, Ryan. And, in these documents, it goes over some of the new powers that Jamie and Andrew Wallet were being given for the conservatorship. One of those powers was to take full control over Britney's residence. And as an auxiliary power to call law enforcement and employ security guards, etc. And that made me think, aren't there studies? What are the statistics of calling law enforcement on, like a person who is in the middle of a mental health crisis, especially where they have predisposed neurodivergences? Like, I'm not saying Britney does have any mental illness, and like I said earlier, I don't know if she does or doesn't, but I was wondering if you know anything material or important about law enforcement and how it's not actually good to call law enforcement on, someone who is in the throes of a mental health crisis. That's why I called you. Let's see. Anyway, so you can wait until the end to answer that, or you can say it here. Not like they had her taking classes or pursuing treatments. Brooklyn, please read her letter. Okay. Anyway, so let's get back to this. Commence and maintain litigation, so they can hire lawyers. And Britney has to pay for it. So they can hire. Britney, it's so funny because Britney is competent to pay these goddamn lawyers, but she's not competent to hire them. Now you tell me how on earth that makes any kind of goddamn sense. Britney Sagittarius, yeah, I interpret it as being able to call the cops on Conservatee behalf. Yeah, I do think that is what this particular document was doing. I just was interested in the actual, unofficially, we're told never call the cops. It usually causes more danger to clients. Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen things like that before, that it's like actually worse for people in crisis. And yeah, and maybe I should have been clearer. That is not what this document said. This document didn't say, oh, we are going to call the cops because Britney's in crisis. That is not what this document says. It just brought to mind those other instances. Kit Housley is saying parents of disabled children know not to call the police. I've informed police where I live of my child's disability just in case there's an emergency. Matt Carmignani. Sorry. Matt Carmignani. Is this recently leaked? No, this is just a publicly available document, but it was filed October 23rd. Okay. The court grants, let's get to number 7. The court grants Andrew and Jamie the powers set forth here and here to enter into contracts, to bind the estate. We've seen this language over and over. Operate at the risk of the estate, pay debts, employ attorneys, accountants, investment counsel. Look at that. Employ investment counsel. Well, that's where we get the power to hire Stonebridge, that we know that some of Britney's money is in. Depositaries. Where size matters. If he's here, he will be able to explain what a depositary is. Scary to think this could happen to any of us. Well, it could happen to any of us, to the extent that any of us are ever going to be worth millions of dollars. But you're right, Mom of Dolls. It happened to someone right in front of our very eyes and continues to happen to this day. Ryan said, only if it literally were life or death were we to call the cops. Right, exactly. Unfortunately, it is not only in California. Conservatorship schemes make billions every year in the U.S., Free Britney 11 said. Exactly. I even saw on Billy Mintz's documentary, The Guardians, that conservatorships, like in the next 3 years, are going to be like $1 trillion industry. What other powers? Power to prosecute civil harassment restraining orders that they deem appropriate, and that's the Sam Lutfi ones you got. Service on Britney of pleadings that are to be sealed shall be served on Mr. Ingham. So this says that Ingham is the one who's going to receive documents on behalf of Britney. He's going to review them and discuss them with Britney. However, he is going to retain all copies, and he cannot leave them. Oh my God. What on earth? I never read this before. This is weird. You don't have to be a millionaire to be targeting. People do this for tens of thousands. Yeah, Leanne, you're right. If they try to conserve me right now, they would be having to fight against my other creditors. They wouldn't have very much to go on. But you're right. Just to get anything from people, anything. Britney Sagittarius Ryan, boomers are getting older. It's going to be a bigger business unless major changes are made in the probate court. Britney hiatus, can someone send me this document? We need to make a Twitter thread. Yeah, can someone send this document to Britney hiatus? Britney hiatus, it is from that. I think you may have it. It's from it's one of the 3 documents that was filed on October 23rd. If you don't have it, that's where it is. But if someone could send it to Leanne, do you have it on the timeline, this document? The one that was filed on the 23rd, the request for judicial notice, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, getting back to this. Sam Ingham retains all copies and pleadings and cannot leave them with the Conservatee. Are you freaking serious? I need to write this down. Page 4. What is this? February 4th. 2008. Sorry, I'm writing a note to myself. Britney cannot keep sealed court documents. This is news to me. This is a new finding to me. What they do with Britney is a crime, and I don't understand why people make her look crazy. She's clearly not all. I agree. The best part really makes me so angry. She never get that time back. They robbed her. Exactly. Leanne said she did not update it yet. No problem. No worries. There's like 1,000 things coming out at once. So wait, is this saying that Ingham isn't obligated to show her any docs about what's going on except that she's in a sea ship and is her counsel? Vampney, yeah, Britney Sagittarius says, bullshit. Her clients had full open access to all their files. So Vampney, this is not exactly saying this. What this is saying is Sam was supposed to review and discuss pleadings with Britney. But he was supposed to keep all of the actual copies of the documents, and he was not supposed to leave them with Britney, except that he could leave a copy of the order appointing him as her counsel to prove that he was her counsel to her. R to B or R. So again, this only applies to sealed documents though, y'all. I don't know what is the deal with unsealed. So I guess they're saying like, okay, well, if you're going to have sealed documents, like we don't trust you to leave them with Britney. And yeah, Vampney. So I guess the answer is yes, Britney hiatus shall equals must. That is true. Shall means it's not negotiable. Thank you for reminding me that's not common knowledge. Shall means must. So anytime you see the word shall, that means you better. No question, no option. You got to, right? Ingham still wants to be her voice. The signed declaration is needed, I think. I wish we could hear from her. It's hard. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. We can talk more about Sam and being the voice after we get through with this, but it's really confusing to me as to who's supposed to be the voice. For Britney, actually, I mean, I know he can be a voice, but I think Britney also has the option to speak for herself. She just maybe hasn't wanted to or whatever. Yeah, so this is really weird to me. Sorry this took so long on this one part, but it is weird to me that Britney doesn't get to keep copies of her own goddamn pleadings. But you know what? Somebody needs to tell Britney, oh, these are only sealed. Sorry, never mind. Scratch that. All right, let's move on. Number 10. Britney cannot have any contact with Sam Lutfi, including telephone, text message, or email. I don't know what the freaking deal with this is. I don't even know if this is legal, to be honest. You have a constitutional right to freedom of association. Let me write that down. Freedom of association. And, hold on, Lutfi. And since you have a freedom of association right, I don't think that a harassment restraining order had been filed or ordered yet. So the fact that they limit Britney's ability to speak to certain people is weird to me. Another thing that the court ordered is that Britney had to remain in California pending the hearing of petitions, so she couldn't travel. That's another constitutional right that you have. You have you have fundamental liberties of life, liberty, and travel. It's very, very, very understood. So look, I mean, this is two possible constitutional infringements right here. No contact, that's freedom of association. And then the conservatee having to remain in California for what? She's not charged with a crime. The only time you can limit someone's ability to travel is if they are charged with a crime. So it's really weird that the judge was taking yet another one of Britney's fundamental rights away, which is to travel for the appointment of permanent. So Britney had to stay in California pending the hearing on the petition for the permanent conservatorship until, February, and for 10 days from then. So they took away her right to leave the state as well. They literally isolated her and took her life away. Yeah, I know. It's no longer temporary, His Girl 1989. It has since become permanent. But this particular document we're reading is from February 4th / February 6th, 2008. Why limit travel, then extend it years later to other states? That is the question. Depop this that popped into my mind as well. I'm not sure the answer. The bond, I don't know what that is. Next hearing is February 14th. Sam signs it. Okay, so you got Reva Gates, and then you have your proof of service. Okay, so did y'all have questions? Let's do question time. They type. Okay, let's see. Don't have any questions. Ask the questions in your, she can't travel, but work her ass off during worldwide tour. Yeah, really good point. Really good point. Let's see. I can probably just turn my camera around. Let's see. Let's see. I'm in this office. Lighting is horrible. She has a house in Florida. Keep up the good work. She's been isolated. Send her messages. Reva Gates is a hoe. Pass it on. Reva Gates is a hoe. Pass it on. What is the conservatorship documentary? Oh, it's called The Guardians. It's on Amazon Prime by Billy Mintz. These powers were in addition to the regular powers. Yes, Britney Hiatus, exactly. Why is Sam Ingham fighting for Brit now and didn't before? Is it because of all the money she made before? There are different hypotheses about this. Some people think that the reason... sorry, I'm in this storage room. Some people think the reason that he's fighting so hard now is because he sees the writing on the wall. He sees that people are going down and he doesn't want to be the one going down. So he wants to be on the right side of history. Other hypotheses are that that Britney herself didn't want to fight this until recently. So whenever Britney wanted to start fighting it, Sam started fighting. I don't really know which side I'm on. I don't trust him. I think that there are credible allegations of corruption against him from other cases, etc. So, I mean, it's great that he's doing what we want him to do now, but it doesn't really make me feel that safe. Thank you for doing these. Lynn was in on this too from the beginning. Okay, Jewel.med. I did not know that. I mean, I knew she like said it was okay, but I didn't know that she was like in on it. What crime did she commit? Yeah, exactly. What crime did she even commit? I know, the fluorescent lighting. I know, this is me in all my glory. I need to get my forehead done. Anybody have some coupons for preventative forehead? Like when I'm under these lights, I'm like, oh my god, I have so many forehead rings. Do you think Jamie's side will file something against Bessemer Trust? Good a question. I don't know. Do y'all think Jamie's side will file something against Bessemer Trust? Oh, I have an actual question here. Hope it's a good one. Why would they not use a more up-to-date letter from the sea ship? Is this not out of date? Wait. So Barry Farrell 91. Why would they not use a more up-to-date letter from the sea ship? Is this not out of date? I'm sure there are more documents that could cancel this out. That's a good question. It depends on a lot of things, and it might just be one specific sentence or one specific provision in there that they really want the judge to see. That might be the reason why, but it is technically speaking out of date because it talks about temporary conservatorship, and it's no longer temporary, and it talks about Andrew Wallet being a co-conservator, and he is no longer a temporary conservator. So it is an out-of-date document, strictly speaking. I'm so concerned that we haven't heard from her since deleting the video. I know. Me too, Kit. There's an interview outside the court of Lynn and Jamie, and she's smiling. Definitely supported it. Oh, I did not know that. Will we hear the judge's ruling on Bessemer? Allegedly, the judge is supposed to rule on Bessemer November 10th. But the judge may end up doing some other kick the can down the road thing. I hope not. Hope something gets resolved on November 10th. But the thing is, I think Geraldine and Gerald are going to argue, to answer the Depop this, will we hear the judge's ruling on Bessemer? I think that Geraldine and Gerald are going to argue that there's no vacancy. Like there's no spot. There's no vacancy in the conservatorship for a conservator, because there already is a conservator of the estate, and that is Jamie Spears. And Lisa seems to agree with that. If they make that argument, they may win on it. Hold on one second, y'all. What's up? Probably like 5 minutes.
Alright, I'll just see you.
I'll go in there. Sorry, I did not tell anyone I was doing this live, so people need me. So that's what I think about that document. So let's get rid of it. So Britney Sagittarius, I think Jamie's side seems so desperate. Who knows what they will do. Agreed. Do you see the response to Ingham's financial questions? A lot of numbers they provided don't add up. Free Britney 11, I did not see that. Is that those documents that were filed October 26th? Anyone want to meet up on the 11th? I'm going alone, possible. His Girl 1989, I think the hearing is on the 10th, unless you actually are asking to meet up after the hearing. Not relevant, but you're so pretty. Oh my god, I feel so not pretty. Thank you. Thank you. I am Mushmita because I feel not pretty. These lights are horrendous. Okay, family courts are good at dragging things out forever. Agreed. I was looking at a house the other day, wearing my Free Britney hat, and the realtor looked really sad and said, Britney is really sick. Her Instagram is crazy. I was so frustrated. Hope you threw the hat at her. Just kidding. That's a joke. Don't throw things at people. Espo Marianne, what if they are working together, Sam and Jamie? They could be. They definitely could be. The litigation team is a hoax. It's possible. Anything's possible. Leanne Simmons said the 10th. Yes, the hearing is on the 10th. Remember, the whole sea ship industry is big. Exactly. Eyebrows on fleek. Oh my god, I have not gotten my eyebrows done since February. Feel it very bushy. Do you think the vacancy is why they pulled Wallet out so they could use that against Bessemer? Rachel, I do not think that's why they pulled Wallet out. I think they pulled him out because they knew it was a losing battle, and they were going to argue that hiring Loeb and Loeb was too expensive. And we saw them that they did, in fact, argue that. So if they were going to argue Loeb and Loeb is too expensive, how can they say that on one hand and then say, oh, but we want to pay Andrew Wallet $500,000 a year or $400,000 a year? It just wasn't going to work. So I think that's why they withdrew Wallet petition, because they couldn't make the argument on one side that they're paying literally $1 million between Jamie, Andrew, and Lou Taylor's firm, and on the same note say, oh, but Loeb and Loeb is too expensive. Because it's like, okay, baby, you're paying all this money, so pick a side. I personally think that's why they withdrew the Wallet petition. I don't get why they use this document to support their hearsay case. What do you think? I think we're going to find out at the trial, at the hearing on November 10th, why they use this one. I went to Dr. Britney's shirt on, and his old crusty ass goes, oh, back when she was cute. Exactly, Violet Wolf. Oh my God, the sexism and racism in the medical industrial complex, or whatever you want to call it. Like, oh, back when she was cute. Like, doctors literally think if you're not cute, you're not worth saving. Like, not all doctors. I know not all doctors, but like, back when she was cute, like, so only cute people deserve rights? Fuck you. I would report him to the medical board. I mean, oops. I try not to curse on here. I know I have young followers. 1989, went to his first rally alone. You'll make friends. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's probably gonna be a ton of people there too that are there alone too. His girl, 1989. But it would be cool for a little meetup, for y'all to do a meetup. Thank you for doing all these lives. You're welcome. I love your big eyes. My eyes are enormous. Got Pisces moon energy. Thank you. That's what I want to see. I'm going. I don't want to be alone is all. I don't think you're going to be alone, his girl, 1989. But I do think it's a really good idea to, like, why not? Find friends. But even if you can't, like, basically I'm just saying, like, even if nobody takes you up on the offer, still go. Because, like, a lot of people are going to be there and probably alone too. But I do think it's a great idea, finding, like, a group. It's fun. How can they say there's no vacancy when 5 minutes ago they were asking to bring Wallet back? Exactly, Mario. They were asking to bring him back as a co-conservator. And interestingly, Britney's lawyer, Sam, has never called his appointment for Bessemer a co-conservator. He is calling for appointment of a conservator. So it might hinge, Michael Lorio, on that vacancy question might hinge on whether or not they were calling it a co-conservator or a conservator, because maybe there's no vacancy for a conservator because there is a conservator, but maybe there's a vacancy for a co-conservator, or maybe they're just wrong and stupid. You look so pretty. Oh my God, stop it. Thank you. Family attorneys do it all the time. It's all about making money. They're working together. They're so screwed. Bushy is in. Thank God, because these caterpillars. I don't think Sam is working with Jamie, but I wouldn't rule it out. Eric93 agreed. Don't think he is. Wouldn't rule it out. If Jamie is allowed to have an attorney to litigate, Britney should be allowed. I agree. If she really has bipolar, which we don't know if she does, the stress would explain why she doesn't always look that well. Right. I mean, I'm not diagnosing Britney Spears, but let's say she has bipolar disorder. Who cares? I mean, not who cares. I'm sensitive to that. But, like, that don't mean she needs to be in a conservatorship. And maybe she has down days and up days, or down months and up months. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to say the wrong thing. But can people now attend all the hearings? Oh, good question, Aggiana. Does anyone know the answer to that, Leanne, if you're still here? Can anyone now attend all the hearings? Has anyone ever told you look like Brittany Murphy? Yes, people have told me I look like Brittany Murphy. People have told me I look like Shakira. And people have told me I look like Ashley Teasdale. I really think, and I think they're all beautiful, so I think it's very complimentary. I really think they're trying to win some time. The shredders are running 24/7. Maybe. These are nitpicky things to lag everything. I agree. You won't be alone. This is a document from February 2008. I just want to support. Yeah, no, his girl at 1989. I'm excited. I hope you go. Or I hope you find people to go with you, but I'm excited you're going. I think the deal, Depop this, is going to be made soon. Loeb and Loeb will find inconsistencies in the accounting and be forced to accept Bessemer. This is my theory. Mosharoli. My sign is Virgo Sun, Pisces Moon, Aries Rising, Venus and Leo. If anyone wants to do my birth chart. I wish more people went. I want to see a street full of protesters. I know it's so hard because there's still, like, a pandemic. But I want to go. Have to go. This was fun. Thanks again. Bye, Flower92. Me too, Kit. I just want hundreds of people. And if you're not able to go to the Los Angeles one, having one in your town, there's like, I think 9 already scheduled. So if there's not one in your town and you live in a larger city, you should definitely think about getting together with someone else there and hosting one, because that is so cool. Like, I went to the one in New York last time on Liberty Island, and that was so fun. It was my second time going to the Statue of Liberty, and it was so cool to meet people, socially distanced, and be excited with each other, so many people's names and stuff are like, Free Britney, Mona Lisa, whatever, and they have like these weird pictures, and it's just avatars on the internet. And then you meet them in real life, it's like, oh, you're a real person. It's so cool. Would Ingham be able to hypothetically bring the petition to remove Jamie on 11/10? Also, why can't the judge just say Conservatees can file declarations? Violet Wolf, 2 very good questions that probably would require a very long answer. Oh, hold on, time out. Let me go back to Leo Blank BR. Oh, Leo Blanco BR. Even if she had bipolar, that doesn't mean probates conservatorship. That's correct. It would be more like a LPS, if anything. Violet, would Ingham be able to bring petition to remove Jamie on 11/10? He could, but he would be probably making the judge kick the can down the road, because the other side needs the opportunity to reply, regardless of how much we hate them. They do have the right to reply to a motion to remove a conservator. And so if he waited till November 10th, that would probably be ill-advised. Also, why can't Judge Penny just tell them Conservatees can file declarations? Violet, I think that is what Sam Ingham's request is. I think he wants the judge to tell them Conservatees can file declarations, because Sam Ingham's argument is she can't, which I don't think it's really a good faith argument between me, y'all, and the doorpost, because he already had her file a declaration before on the Bessemer petition nomination. Free Britney. All right, hey, millions of people millions function independently with bipolar disorder. Exactly. I have family members with living with bipolar disorder, and they function independently, and they don't need a conservatorship. And actually, some of them are nurses, and they take care of other people. Leanne said, as of now, we can still attend. Leanne said she'll be there on November 10th, in the courtroom if possible. So exciting. Does Britney have any recourse if Bessemer is appointed and fined? Good question, Zachy Online. Does Britney have any recourse if Bessemer is appointed and finds financial misdealings with Lucifer? Yes, Britney does. And if they get appointed everything that they have asked for, then they're going to be able to bring litigation on behalf of Britney. So I want to see the accounting history. I hope it's brought into evidence. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Venus. Oh my God, you are the Sagittarius of the world. IBBH picks. I love that you know it. Almost don't know their whole signs. Virgos. Okay, let me see. We don't know what is going on behind closed doors. If her father is as abusive as they allegedly say, there could potentially be gaslighting, emotional manipulation, threats, etc. I completely agree. Sandy Travels. We have no idea what kind of undue influence that there is being on Britney, but not from Sam Lutfi, from Jamie Spears. Do you think we'll end up hearing from Britney because of the hearsay objection? I think we're going to end up being in a position where the judge does want to hear from Britney. Whether we do end up hearing from Britney or not, I don't know. Eric93, since when does a person with bipolar need to be under conservatorship? A good question. I have no idea. What do y'all think about Britney going dark on Instagram? I don't think personally Britney has access to her Instagram. Like, I don't think she has the login. I don't think it's on her phone. I think she probably has a Finsta, and I don't think she has really anything to do with that Instagram. That's my opinion. I've tried to rally people in my state to do it, and they act like I'm some crazy conspiracy theorist. Well, Kit, I think the tides are turning. I want to have one in the UK. You should. You can use CoStar app if you're so into horoscopes. You know what? I don't trust CoStar because they got my rising sign wrong. So I'm an astrology snob, I guess. But CoStar is fun. It's like, if you've never heard of CoStar, it's kind of like intro to astrology for like, and you can make a profile. Your friends can make a profile, and you can compare yourselves and see your compatibility, romantic and otherwise. What do y'all think about Britney? Oh, I just said that Mariah and Demi are bipolar and not in a conservatorship. Yep, I agree. Free Britney 11. It's not a reasonable motive to put someone in a conservatorship. That's completely true. Like, I'm autistic and I don't need to be in a conservatorship, and that's one of the things that they let you put people in conservatorships for is severe autism. And it's like, what is fuck severe autism? Like, what does that even mean, severe? Like, oh, you don't act normal enough, so we're putting you in a conservatorship? Like, it's just weird. Like, if you're not hurting someone, if you're hurting someone, you should probably be in jail, not a conservatorship. And if you're not hurting anyone, you probably should just be allowed to carry on with your business. What happened to that 7:30 evaluation? It's like forgotten. Really excellent question. Je suis, right? Je suis prats. Unless it's something, y'all, like me trying to read people's names sometimes because it's all lowercase. Well, if we know her dad threatened to keep her from her kids, this is insane. I know people with bipolar, but Britney has money, so people take advantage of that. Maybe Britney has PTSD from stuff she saw as a kid and has major anxiety. Exactly. And that would not be uncommon and also wouldn't warrant a conservatorship. XO, my LXO. I want to pull up Brit's human design chart. Ooh, what's that? Ooh. XO, the Ashley Eve. What is a human design coach? Oh my gosh. DM me. I want to know about it. Ryan, Britney the Sagi. It is also, y'all, Britney the Sagittarius's Instagram got hacked or disabled or something. So follow her new account, Britney the SAGI, Sagi, Britney the Sagi. Follow that new account. That is one of the most important and influential accounts that you're going to be able to find on this movement. Also, the Lawyers for Britney's account was disabled. So if you have, if you were following them or if you were not, please follow their backup Lawyers for Brit or backup Lawyers for Britney. Extremely influential, extremely important figures to follow in the movement. And their accounts have been either disabled, deleted, reported, whatever. It's weird. So Britney Sagi said it's weird because someone in a general probate shouldn't even be mentally or physically capable of giving a declaration. That's where I'm coming up to, Ryan. And that's Sam Ingham's argument. If she's in a probate conservatorship, she just can't give a declaration. But we have Britney here who is like clearly able to do things like swing from the ceiling and do choreography. So what is the standard? Corey Adams 94. The document we were talking about is one that was filed on October 23rd, but within that document there was one attached as an exhibit from February 2008. And that document was an order extending the temporary conservatorship for like a week. And there were some powers that were given to Jamie and Andrew as co-conservators. That's the document we went over in this video. I have a few friends with BPD. I'm assuming that's bipolar. Because I've also seen BPD referred to as borderline personality disorder, which is also a cluster B personality disorder. I'm assuming, Violet, you're talking about bipolar disorder. I don't know which one's BPD and which one's BP. It's my misunderstanding, not yours. But I assume you're meaning bipolar. And a friend with dissociative identity disorder, and they were not conserved. What do you know about Billy B posts an old pic? I don't know. Haven't really been keeping up with like the picture and the posting and all that. I try to keep stuff to the legal documents, so I really don't know what's going on with Billy B. If Britney makes a statement, wouldn't that open the door for Jamie's lawyers to force her to deposition? Britney makes a statement, would that open the door for Jamie's lawyers to force her into deposition? Let me think about that for a second. Biodynamic Brendan. Let me think about this for a second. If Britney makes a statement, would it open the door for Jamie's lawyers to force her into a deposition? I don't think they can force her into a deposition because it's not a criminal case. I don't think so, but we'll ask Lisa next time. I use astro.com. It's bomb. Okay, well, but maybe I want you to coach me, the Ashley Eve. But I will go to astro.com. They can't clearly show evidence of her working. Can't they clearly show evidence of her working to cancel the conservatorship? Agiana, they can use that as evidence, but they haven't petitioned to cancel the conservatorship yet, and I don't really know why. Can I ask a personal question about your autism? How was your speech as a child? My speech as a child was impeccable. I was very advanced. I was memorizing entire children's books and bed stories by the time I was 2.5 or 3 years old. I was very, very verbal. And I also would play with other kids. I didn't stay completely and totally to myself, so I got diagnosed with autism pretty late in life, as far as diagnoses go. But my speech was very, very good. Excellent. My math skills, on the other hand, were and continue to be very poor. So I kind of got the flip side. Hybrid business model, exactly, Violet. Can you imagine how upset her boys are? Yeah, no, I cannot imagine. Just, I would be so infuriated. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if both of her kids end up being, like, lawyers or, like, something crazy, like... Let's see. Thanks, BJ. I will DM you. Haha. If you love astrology, you will love human design. I do. I love... And I've been, like, reading recently into, like, the simulation theory and the multiverse and, like, many worlds theories and stuff. Like, I've been, like, blowing my own mind with, like... the fact that I think we're probably living in a simulation. What's up with the Instagram accounts being hacked? No idea. So everybody, the Free Britney SD has tagged the Lawyers for Britney backup account. It's at Lawyers for Britney _backup. Was Lawyers for Britney taken down? Yes, they were. Can someone link the Instagram pages she mentioned? Yeah. Someone link those pages. Britney the Sagi and the Lawyers for Britney backup. They have a backup, so many. I have to watch the same video. Oh, I meant bipolar disorder and dissociative identity disorder. Thanks for the clarification. My daughter has bipolar and borderline. See, yeah, you can have both. Still can't believe you're only like 20 minutes from me. I'm in King of Prussia. Oh my God, are you serious? I was just in Allentown like 2 days ago, Eric. Are you serious? We should do a rally in KOP. Yes. I take a week off the internet and Lawyers for Britney gets taken down. A mess. I don't think she has access to her social media. I believe her team posts things. I agree, Misty. Would it be so bad if she's deposed? I don't know. I think it would be good if she's deposed because she might spill some tea. But she probably wouldn't like it. So for that reason, it would be bad. She has the most normal Insta. Will this live be on your page? Yes. Y'all, the fact that it's difficult to figure out what Britney has to say blows my mind. Have you checked your notes? Which notes, Joshua Bailey? Oh, my questions? Oh, regarding the declaration. Okay. Regarding the declaration, can't the judge just state the correct law instead of taking briefs? Good question, Violet. And this is something I've been asking you. Are you a paralegal or like a lawyer or something? Because I feel like you ask the most on-point questions that I also wonder, Violet. Regarding the declaration, can't the judge just say what the law is instead of taking briefs? And I think no is the answer. I think she has to take the briefs. Judges are not permitted to make what's called like what's it called? Like basically judges can't make declarations without hearing the facts of a case. And they have to hear the arguments. Like judges can't make the arguments. It has to be lawyers making the arguments. But here, I think the judge might be making a general declaration and we'll see how it goes. And let's see. Do we have any other questions? I'll do one more question and then I gotta go because I told my partner I would be there in 5 minutes and clearly that was like 20 minutes ago. Is there no... Totally a simulation, Britney the Sagi. I agree. Let's talk more, Ryan, about our theories about the simulation later. MJ is going to take 5 more minutes, 30 minutes later. I know. But he does the same thing. He's like, I'll be there in 2 minutes. It's like 15 minutes. I'm like, you literally said 2 minutes. Stop saying 2 minutes. Is there no oversight of these procedures? The removal, Jen O'Neill says, The removal of her rights made 12 years ago should be struck down. It's really complicated, and this is something that Lisa advocates about all the time, is that it is basically no. Basically, there is no oversight. And if you try to appeal this stuff to a federal court, the federal court often will not hear a case that started in a probate or family court. They say that's a state issue, and the state has to decide that. So, I don't know what the oversight is. I mean, the letter that Lisa McCarley had sent to the Attorney General in the state of California had said that there should be some type of citizen oversight, like actual members of like basically like a jury oversight. We're a scientific experiment created by aliens. The moon is an alien satellite by. I used to like call that kind of stuff like, oh, flat earthers, oh, you're all crazy. But like, I've been listening to podcasts about quantum theory and quantum physics, and it's like physics is like magic to me. And now I'm like, well, I mean, the theory is, and then I'll say this and leave. The theory is, once a society or civilization reaches the point to where they can actually create simulations that are believable, then those simulations will be able to create simulations. And like, since the world's been around for like, the universe has been around for like so long, the statistical probability, according to physicists at MIT, is that there's a 50% chance that we are living in a simulation. So that's what I've gathered so far. But I stay open-minded in the middle, right? Same, yeah. Law, astrology, quantum physics, all in one live in the middle. I know. But okay, well, everyone, make sure that you bring your ballots to the voting drop-off booths, and I will, Size Matters, Size Matters, someone's going to be sending you a message. I sent them your way, so DM me, if you're curious about that. All right, well, okay, he's coming in here. He looks mad. I would be mad, so I'll talk to y'all later. Probably tonight, maybe. Tomorrow for sure, maybe. We'll see. Bye.